So which HPLC machine instrument is good enough to test THC potency? So in the cannabis world, the active ingredient is delta 9 tetrahydrocannabinol, delta 9 THC. And to measure potency typically means how much THC is in the sample. So I'll give you a couple of answers to this. First of all, it's the easiest thing in the world to do chromatographically. If you run any HPLC instrument, you run a reverse phase column, C18, you run 70% acetonitrile water or 70% methanol water, roughly, you will get a beautiful separation of the cannabinoids. For the most part, in cannabis, natural cannabis, you're going to find one gigantic peak, one thing that absorbs. It's like 230 nanometers, down there in the low UV, around 230, and you're going to see one giant peak. It's delta 9 THC. There's nothing else in there. So if you want to measure potency, the trick is you have to weigh your sample to begin with, extract out 100% of the THC. How do you do that? I don't know. Weigh out a gram, put in 100 mils of methanol, sonicate it overnight or sonicate it for an hour or something like that, and then analyze the liquid, and that will show you the amount of THC present. Now, a couple of little nuances in HPLC can differentiate THC from THCA. So those of you in the cannabis world, THCA, the acid form of THC, is not psychoactive. It will not get you high, but it is the ingredient that it is the material that the plant actually makes. So a growing plant has THCA in it. If it is combusted or heated to a very high temperature, it turns into delta 9 THC. So LC can differentiate. So a raw cannabis plant would have a very high uh, delta 9 THCA content and very low THC, whereas a distillate would be essentially 100% THC and very little or basically no THC left over. So if your goal is to measure the difference between the two, you need to do it by HPLC. If you just need to know potency, total THC, run it by GC. Same thing. Do the exact same sample prep, same extraction, inject it on GC. You're going to see one peak, one gigantic peak for the delta 9. You'll see the other cannabinoids, tiny little things, CBD and CBN here and there. But for the most part, it's going to be one peak. So if you're looking for an HPLC, the simplest HPLC in the world is going to work. I always look at it as if you really want to run this on a daily basis, I would want to make sure you have a robust piece of equipment. So go out there and look for something that comes with a warranty. Get a used equipment quote from my friends at Shimatsu or at Agilent. They'll happy. I'm very happy to give you a quote. If you're looking out there and you only need. I always say get a gradient HPLC instrument. You only need an isocratic technically for THC determination, and then I would use a regular UV detector. Diode array is always my favorite, but even a variable wavelength detector will work fine. Like I said, 230 nanometers, you pick up all the cannabinoids.